Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the League of Europe. We are here for round number 4 around the Miami International Circuit. My name is Jake, of course, taking you guys through this as always. And join alongside me with tonight, it is not actually commentated. It is, in fact, QVR Verstappen. How are you doing tonight, my friend?
Hello everyone and indeed welcome to Division 2. I'm doing well. I'm looking forward to this. Not a lot of drivers on the grid unfortunately. A few late non-attendees, they know who they are. But yeah, I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, no, certainly is going to be a very interesting one to say the least. As I said, it is round number 4 for division number 2. Just before we get into the qualifying, because we are already in the qualifying session, I'll just run you through the standings as to who is where for yourself so you get an idea. The standings so far. Of course, last week QVR Killer did end up taking his first race win for the Clean Vigor Racing team and ended up now in second in the championship. But Creco is the one that is still leading this championship with Luke in third, 13 points shy of that. Larkin now in fourth, Ben JS in fifth, tied on points with Darry in sixth, Rick in seventh, Slash in eighth, RJ in ninth, and Nick's rounding out that top 10 as well. So a lot of moves, I suppose you could say, happening last week. And I'm quite intrigued on how the rest of it is going to play out. As I said, I think there could be some very interesting dynamics. I don't know if that's the way to say it, but there's definitely something else that can produce very interesting throughout this season, especially around Miami. I think it might start to show who's going to be where within this championship.
Yeah, definitely a difficult track, new on the game obviously. And as we saw in the previous division, it can cause quite a bit of carnage, especially on the opening laps. So that is definitely something to look out for. Riding on board with Nathan GR63 here. He is the first one to start this lap, I think, coming out of turn 17.
Yes, we'll stick on board with Nathan. Again, I think I would say is one that's definitely been very unlucky throughout the season because we would expected him to be leading this championship by an absolute margin. But at the moment, it's not really coming to fruition for him. And at the moment, he's not even within the top 10 of the standings. I think, in fact, I don't think he's even anywhere near that. Well, it might even be in the top 15 for points wise. So I'll just have a double check of that in just a minute. But yeah, we're right on board with him, just making his way through the end of sector 1 as well. And unfortunately, he's invalidated on his lap times. So that's that done for Nathan. Yeah, it's very easy to invalidate your lap, especially coming out of turn number 7 and turn number 8. If you run just a tiny bit wide, that's your lap basically done, and it's basically just like the drive of shame back towards the pits.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate, but very frustrating as well if you come through there. You just see that the black and white flag popping up on your screen. In behind is Emily Marcio though, and he is not on an invalid lap, he's actually on a flying lap. He comes down to turn number 11. You go for the very tight stadium section, 12 and 13 coming up here on the left. Now the tightest chicane I've ever seen, 14 and 15, very awkward, but he nailed it quite nicely actually. Now for 15, 16, and open up the throttle, let's see, 1 and 2.4, not the most amazing split, we'll see this session I reckon, but it's not all too bad. Gets a lap on the boards, DRS down towards turn 17 to the very harsh braking zone, 100 meters just before it actually, you brake, a bit of camber on the exit which can make the traction zone quite a bit difficult. As you see from Marsh though, skids on the curb turn 18, just about keeps it valid though. 127.7, there's a lot of time in that lap, obviously looking at the end there.
Yeah, that was definitely, I think that was a Cobar moment for sure for Marcio. So, yeah, still managed to get him time on the board. And, I would have said that wasn't actually too bad of a time, considering that our championship leader has gone a tenth behind him, having that half spin. So, Marcio, not a bad lap so far. If Creco is doing that at 27.851 for that German. A few other guys are just making their way across the line as well, or coming around that final corner. There is a McLaren of Larkin, just made his way across the line to do 28.6. A Ferrari of Rick of 28.0, and then that's screaming the other Mercedes, 43.0, which is not representative, but I think he's going again on those set of soft tyres. So we'll see what the German can do towards the end of the lap. A lot of other guys just making their way across the line. Ben JS currently on pole with a 27.501. Very interesting enough to say, as June chucking it onto second position, replacing RJ for this evening, 27.668. So Williams 1-2, something we haven't seen in a very, very long time yet.
Yeah, definitely. I do have to note, Slash was on an invalid run, and he did a 26.8. So there is definitely some time in this. As I just saw someone popping up, I think that was Dari or was it Rick?
Barry.
Dari is up at the P8. That's Nathan on the second run of that tire. It's 27.3. So not all too bad there. 10.5 clear of BenJS as of right now. One of the Alfa Romeos, and they're just coming way to get back to the pits. I think that might be most of the first one done. I'm not seeing too much out on track, as Brent might be the first one actually.
In fact, it would actually be Slash. Slash is still going on another lap. Well, I actually say that, no,
but
he
not
has
very
slowed
quick.
down. Yeah, no, ignore me. He has completely slowed down. I think the Scream.
Actually, the Scream, yeah.
I was about to say, I think he's still going on that lap now. We did see it at the beginning, and I think he might be... No, never mind, he's coming straight back in, so he's not going to be carrying it on that. You're right, it is going to be Brent then, so...
But he's invalid, so that is not helping.
We're just jinxing everything, aren't we?
Killer's actually on the lap. Let's go on board with the race winner of last week. 30.1, not all too bad in the sector 1. Now down towards turn number 11. Down to second gear, third on the exit, and through turn 12, double apex right-hander for 13, and I set it up for 14 and 15. Very easy to invalidate here. Killer doesn't do that, it takes it quite safely, and around through number 16 now on the exit 1 at 2.2. We've seen it a couple quicker, but he might be going up towards the top of the times. DRS opens, you see a car up ahead, one of the Alpha Tower is just weaving about. I think that's Felipe. But now Killer on the brakes, down into second gear, very aggressive towards the apex. On the exit of 17, he gets a decent exit actually, short shifting a little bit. And now to the line, QVR Killer, a 127.3, just a hundredth ahead of Nathan.
Yeah, definitely a good start for Killer for sure. So already proving a good case, as I said, up ahead of Nathan as well. Very good lap time from Killer, to say the least. Trying to dethrone Krico for that championship at the moment, as the Krico is the one that is leading it. Currently in 6th position. I'm going to run on board with Felipe, aka Nolan, aka I think he's probably the one that's done the least amount of laps in the league so far. That is a full-time driver. He, I think, has not even done double digits over 4 races. So yeah, I think this makes it a bit more interesting that Felipe has not actually done any, or not done, I think, over 6 laps, I want to say, in a race in total. I mean, I say probably the least for a full-time driver. There's definitely people that haven't turned up for 4 races in a row. Not naming any names, but somebody in Division 3. Just right on board with Nolan now, just coming through the very tight and twisty chicane at the exit of it, 102.5 for that second sector. So we'll see what he's going to do. Purple second sector as well, according to the game. So Nolan could be on for a bit of a flyer. I reckon this might put him around where BenJS and Evans are, as Evans, in fact, going up to P4, just coming across the line, the 27.586 for the Relentless driver. But on board with the other Relentless driver, Felipe now just making his way around the final 2 corners. Is it going to be anywhere in contention with Evans and with BenJS? Let's have a look and see where he puts it. It's in P5, just behind Evans, but just out in front of June, 4 thousandths of a second up ahead of the Spaniard in that Williams.
In the meantime, Turbo just in behind, put in at 27.8 to put it into P9 for now. They'll be looking to improve throughout the session as well. Just looking around, I don't think there's many people on laps actually at the moment. So everyone's just on their out laps. I think Rico might be the first one actually to be on the lap again, down towards turn number 4, quick flick off the left, and then on the right for turn 5, and then again through turn 6, 7, and towards 8 now on the exit. Let's see what the split time is, 30.2, 10.5 up, just under. Looking decent so far for the German.
Yeah, 10.5 up, that will at least put him up ahead of Marcio's fellow MLE driver as well. But yeah, I mean, I said that's only just the first sector. If he can continue that sort of progression in these final 2 sectors, then we could see him look to challenge around BenJS, maybe even try and challenge those top 2 as well. Of course, our championship leader. I wouldn't necessarily say he's known for a good qualifying. He's definitely a lot better in a race distance rather than qualifying, so we'll see if Krico can maybe try and chuck his way up a bit further up in the order for this qualifying session. And as I say that, almost 5 tenths up on his time, so yes, this will put him around where our top 2 are. We just need the flawless final sector, and of course the final sector is literally only made up with this long straight and then those last 3 corners. Is he going to be able to get this stopped enough in time? He certainly is. There's a stricken Red Bull just on the outer side of the track. Now Can he get the traction out of it? It looks as if that was very nicely done for Creco. Coming across the line now, and it's not close enough to those top two, but to P3 at 27.403 for the German. Very nice lap time so far to solidify himself onto those front two rows. Rick just improving as well up into P9, as well as Larkin up into P11. A lot of other guys are just coming across the line now, Slash being one of them, and Slash going on pole for his first lap, a 27.254. You said he did a 26.8 on his invalidated lap. Now 27.2 chucks him straight onto the front row of the grid and straight at the very, very front of the grid as well.
Yeah, and just looking at Ben Jesse's 2.5 tenths up for the middle sector split, coming across the line, and he puts it on pole, 18 fathoms ahead of Slash. It's going up and down with these guys.
There's a lot of people improving, that is for sure. And as I said, there's a lot of people going through that chicane right now as we speak. I think a lot of them are on outlaps, although Luke, I think, is the one that is on a lap in between it. But yeah, we're right on board with Nathan GR63. He is on that long straight. I think the Red Bull there was just getting out of his way. I think that was Darry. So let's have a look and see. Nathan currently in P4, a 27.353, a 10th under his 10th under pole position. Let's see, 10th over pole position, is he going to be able to make an improvement on this time? Making his way around the final corner now, Nathan comes across the line, and it's a 27.107, first one into the 27.1s. Luke comes across the line to do a 27.575. I think Nathan does need to just move out of the way, because there is Darry just behind him starting on his lap. But as I said, a lot of other people making their way around the final corner now. I was going to say Lex was one of them, but he is going into the pits. Rick also going into the pits. Marcio, I think, is going to be the next one across the line, and in fact he's invalidated on his time, so he's not going to make any improvement, but he's coming across the line anyway, looking like he's still going to complete a lap, and it was a 27.355 for Marcio, so that would have put him at least in P5 up ahead of Creco. Again, it's getting a little bit more tense now. 6 minutes left to go off this qualifying session.
And I'm looking at QVR Keller, who's a 10th up for the first sector, just coming around the slow section, 2 tenths up, and gets a slipstream from Larkin here. Let's see how that's going to pan out and help him then. DRS is open for both of them. Down towards turn 17, Larkin drags him along. You can see the speed increase to 341 kilometers an hour. Braking down towards turn 17 on the throttle. This is looking like a good lap, I think, for Keller. And across the line, let's see where he puts himself. 126.9, the first one into the 26s, and that is definitely a help there by Larkin, I have to say. But it's good to see the teamwork paying off for him.
Yeah, very nicely done from himself, from Larkin and Fro Killer Blue, or QVR Killer now, shall I say. But yeah, very nicely done between the pair of them. Killer now, first one into the 26s and put himself back on pole. So him and Nathan just dueling it out for that top spot of the grid. Right on board with Nolan, and he spins it around at the exit of turn number 6, coming into turn 7. So there's another one that's also spun with him. I think that was Pope. Both of them just having a few little pirouettes going through that fast left-hander. It's very easy to drop it there, especially in this first, well, just anywhere in this first sector. It's very easy to drop it through there. And yeah, unfortunately for Tope and unfortunately for Nolan, they have done just that, so they'll probably be coming in to gear up for a final lap for sure. Scream still not putting in a representative lap. Darry not on a lap either. I saw him, he's not exactly using any of his ERS. Brent did come across the line to put himself up into P13. Yeah, I think there's definitely a few drivers that we're not expecting to be as low down. I mean, as likes of Larkin and Darry, they're the ones that scream out to me. Same with Rick and Tope. I think Rick, we might starting to get a little bit used to the fact that he's definitely a lot better in the races, but Tope, Larkin, Darry, I think they're a little bit lower than what you'd be expecting them to be.
Yeah, who knows, they can improve then towards the last couple minutes of the session. Now, that is going underway now. Yeah, it's quite surprising to see someone like Tope down there. I don't see that often. Usually one of the quicker ones in qualifying, but yeah. Hopefully they can improve. Yeah, as of right now, there's a few guys that stand out to me. Slash is one that I'm expecting to improve still. Nathan and Killer obviously right up there as well. And Ben JS is another one. He's been quietly good this season, I have to say. But he's getting his results in. He's a share P4 in the standings with Larkin. So might be another good result for him coming in.
Yeah, I was just about to say as well, that we were just speaking about Ben as well. He's definitely having a bit of a little bit of an underground season, I suppose, because he's actually doing very, very well considering obviously the drivers that are in this split, as I said, you'd be expecting like to Slash, Nathan, Killer, Larkin, Jew, Nolan, all of those guys to be, be up there. Creeko as well. You'd expect all of those guys to be up there trying to battle for the championship. Ben's just sort of snuck his way in there, and he's just quietly in P4. He's currently sitting in third position, and he's in a very good spot at the moment to even try and take third position in this championship. So, again, Ben could be a bit of an underdog in this one. He's done very well so far in qualifying. Now, pretty much a lot of other people coming out on outlaps, but I'm running on board with Slash. He is going to be the first one to come across the line to finish that. We'll see what the man in the Alpine can do. Of course, bottle it in Bahrain, I've got to admit, but we'll see if he can make any improvements and maybe even try and take his first race win for Division 2 for this season for tonight. He's just making his way around towards the end of Sector 1. Is he up on his time? He certainly is by 10th and a half, so this will put him up at least ahead of his teammate. Can he maybe try? Can he keep this as consistent as possible and try and challenge Killer for that pole position? As I said, a lot of other people are now on outlaps and starting their laps as well, so we'll try and see if we can keep an eye on those guys, of course, when they come closer towards the line. Slash goes very wide out of the exit of turn number 11. It still keeps him valid, but I don't really think that's a valid lap, if anything. I think he is still going, but he's definitely costed him quite a bit of time. Drew's actually binned it out of the exit of turn number 6. Let's have a look on Slash. He's still a 10th up on his time, interestingly enough, despite going very wide out of turn number 11. So I don't know, is that really a valid lap?
I think you lose time doing that, honestly. The way you approach yourself for the right-hander, I don't think that's going to gain you a lot. Let's see what he does onto the traction. And now for the last corner, right in that curb, 26.9. It does actually put it on pole. Let's see if that stands.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I'm more just I wonder if he gained. I mean, yeah, you could be right. I don't think he really sort of gained that much time, if any, from that. So, yeah, Slash putting it on pole so far. I said a few other guys are everyone is pretty much on their laps now. Just a couple other people on out laps. Luke is going to be the next one across the line to complete a flying lap, so we'll stick on board with the AlphaTauri, and he is definitely 4 tenths up on his time, so let's see if he can maybe try and challenge Killer and Slash as well. He may end up going up ahead of Nathan as there is a sliding Alfa Romeo. I thought that was going to interrupt Luke there. Hopefully he didn't get too caught up by it, but goes into P4 only just shy of Nathan's time, and saying that Nathan comes across the line, a 26.835 for Nathan onto pole position so far. Larkin comes across the line, stays in P14. Killer Blue is the one. Is only just coming across the line now to start his lap. Slash pulling over to the side. I think that was Licks as well, just pulling over to the side. He did not make an improvement on his lap time either, so that's his qualifying done. Right on board with Ben JS though, because he is going to be the next one across the line. He's just making his way around the final corner as well, and he is 0.04 of a second up on his time. Just needs a very good exit coming out of these final 2 corners, and it looks as if he has done just that. Is it going to be an improvement on his time? It isn't, interestingly enough. So Ben must have had a very good final sector before. Him and Creeko did not make any improvements. So, Creeko made an improvement, but it wasn't enough to jump up ahead of Ben. Ben stays P5, Creeko stays P6, and that's the best that they're going to get in the moment.
Let's see, Rick is coming down. He gets into P7, a couple tenths behind Creeko. Evans is just down on his time, just jumps ahead of Rick again, though, in the last sector. Let's see. Slash is pitted, so he is not put it on pole position for now. Let's see if the Scream can get a competitive time in. He's coming around the final couple corners for turn 18, getting the power down quite nicely. As to say, DRS is open, 27.6, puts in P9, not too bad. Brent's coming around, 10th up into P13. And the AlphaTauri, I think it's Felipe. He's just gone down into the pit. I don't think Luke is improving either. And it's QVR Killer. He's got a touching from Larkin, looking at the McLaren behind. Let's see, can he get it on pole? Not quite. 10th and a bit down. Dari is across the line, 4 tenths up, gets P12 only though, and Tope is not on the lap anymore. And I think Nathan is done as well, so that puts Nathan on pole, and it's a 1-2 for Alpine in qualifying.
Very well done for the 2 Alpines for sure. Yeah, I was running on board with Killer as he's just coming through that the final couple corners out of the hairpin. He had a bit of a slide, so that costed him. He was about 2.5 tenths up on his time, so that would have put him with a 26.7 on pole if he would have been able to maintain that kind of pace, which is ridiculous pace. But yeah, Killer P3. Again, I think he was hoping for more, just trying to push that a bit too much out of that hairpin, but can't take that away from Nathan, because Nathan did a very good lap, a very blinding lap, shall I say, because it's put him on pole position with his teammate lining up alongside him. So 1, 2, 4, the Alpines. Killer in third, Luke in fourth, Ben JS in fifth, our championship leader of Creco in sixth, Evans in seventh, Rick in eighth, Vascreen and Felipe round out that fifth row for ninth and 10th position. And we'll run through, of course, the rest of the order very, very shortly. But it's so tight with those top guys, and I think we might just see a bit of a runaway from the rest of the other guys, which I'm going to be quite intrigued to see if that's going to happen. So yeah, I said Nathan and Slash rounding out the front row, Killer and Luke on that second row, Ben JS and Creeper on the third row, Evans and Rick on the fourth row, Dascream and Nolan on the fifth row, Doom and Darian 11th and 12th on the sixth row, Marcio and Brent in the seventh row, 13th and 14th, Tobin Larkin on the eighth row. Is that right? I don't know if my message. Yeah, no, it's definitely the 8th row, 15th and 16th, and then Licks right at the very back of the grid on that 9th row. In the Alfa Romeo, not exactly a qualifying session for him. He did, I think he was on the last lap and then ended up binning. I think I was riding on board with Tope and saw him just sort of bin out of the chicane. So, yeah, unfortunately for Licks, that is him starting at the very back of the grid. Larkin as well. I'm really surprised to see him at the back of the grid. Not so much for this track though, because he did say it in the Division 2 chat, he's only done about 5 laps off this track in total on this game, so it doesn't surprise me that he's sort of starting towards the back. But I suppose once he learns the track a bit more throughout the race, he might start to get just that bit quicker.
Yeah, it's definitely something we could see. One thing I found peculiar is that the top 6 was essentially very much clear of the rest of the field. There was I think a 3/10 gap between P6 and P7. That's not something you see quite often. Yeah, those guys seem to have got the track under control quite decently. Looking dry for the race so far. Have to see if that changes throughout this session. And yeah, usually here you just use the hards and the mediums in whatever shape, way, or form. They both have quite a bit of a distance on them. You can get a good 16 laps out of the mediums and a good 25 out of the hards. Roughly, one could do a bit more if you have the tire pressure a bit higher, potentially. But we'll have to see. But yeah, if there's anyone using softs, I'd be very surprised here.
Yeah, I would be very surprised if someone does opt to go on the softs. I won't be surprised if the top two both go on the mediums, or because they're both teammates, one goes on the mediums, one goes on the hards, just to alternate their strategy. But I'll be very surprised if no one in the top 4 opts to go on a set of the medium compound tire, just so then they can try and get a bit away from the rest of the grid. But again, anything can sort of happen with those guys. We wait and see as we just have a look now. Once we are getting onto the grid, just to see what tyres everybody has opted to go on. I can see Nathan on the mediums and I can see Slash on the hard. So yeah, they're alternating strategies between the pair of them. Let's have a look at everybody else though. Brent, Tope and Licks at the back are all going on a set of the medium tyres. Everybody else is on a set of the hards. So I don't know why they're going on a set of the mediums, but that's it's an interesting strategy.
Another interesting thing is that Lex spun off the line, trying to this car going. Won't know that too much. But yeah, I think it's just to gain some positions early on and hope you can hold on in the second stint. And maybe if there's a fairly early safety car, you can get your benefits of it as well. Say there's a safety car lap 7, 8. You're obviously going to be able to make this hard slots to the end, while the guys on the hards already are not going to be able to do that. But yeah, I think Nathan is planning basically to try and pull away from the rest of the grid and try and get that gap and hope he can hold on in the second stint as well, and that's basically what he's trying to do. Yeah, not surprising to see this many people on the hards.
Yeah, no, I've been expecting a lot of people to go or to start on a set of the hards. I'd be expecting one of those top 2 to start on the mediums, and of course it is a positive that he's going to be starting on those medium compound of tyres. Yeah, I said Slash, Killer, Luke, all want to try and see if they can maintain their positions. I hope that nobody else behind them can at least jump up ahead of them off of the start, because otherwise then it's just going to be a bit of bad news for the rest of them. So yeah, I think they're going to have a bit of an interesting start, to say the least. I'm just intrigued on who's going to be able to keep what position come towards the end of lap 1, or even come towards the first sector, because there will still be reasonably coldish tyres when they do line up on the grid. They'll of course be a bit warmed up from this formation lap, but they'll still be quite cold, and a lot of people, if they know this track, it's pretty slippery. So I'm intrigued on if there's going to be absolute carnage, or if it's going to be relatively clean. And again, I suppose after that first sector, we'll then see who's exactly going to be where, if anyone picks up any wing damage, anything like that. So yeah, everyone is just lining up to their grid spots, and we can get this one straight underway. Yeah, very quickly, any predictions?
Slash wins this ahead of Nathan and Ben.
Ben on the podium. Okay, well, we shall await and see as we are now just getting ready for those 5 red lights to make their appearance. The 5 red lights are on for round number 4 of Division 2 Season 8. The lights are out and away they go. Killer getting a very good start in comparison to everybody else, but Nathan does hold on to the lead. Slash keeps that second position. Luke now under pressure from Ben and from Rick, getting a very good start. Evans not exactly a very good start for the relentless driver, but it looks as if Luke does keep that P4. Rick and Evans still both side by side coming through turn number 4. Keeps that position. Evans is going to have that inside, and Rick unfortunately has to back out of that one. In fact, Evans gets up ahead of Ben. So Ben, a very poor start from the Williams driver. Of course, I said poor start. He drops down 2 positions, now down in the 6th position, and potentially losing a 3rd one. Rick trying to hold it up the inside in towards turn number 8. Has to back out of that one. Does the Finn and maintains that position. All very clean so far. But Luke, I thought we were side by side with Killer, just a little bit of a timing glitch. But Nathan already 1.5 seconds up ahead of his teammate. Not exactly to anybody's surprise, but we'll see if he can try and maintain that a bit more. Further down the field though, Nolan and Darry both side by side coming through turn number 11. They're both still going to maintain it side by side. The German's going to have the inside for turn number 12, and turn number 13 has kept that position. Nolan has a little bit of a half spin, touches the side of the wall. I don't know if he picked up any wing damage from that, but Doom trying to see if he can go past him through the chicane. Nolan again having another little slide out of the chicane, and keeps that position from the Spaniard, but causing a little bit of a blockage from the rest of those guys from 11th downwards. Are we going to see any moves coming down in towards it? Brent going straight past Doom as well. Brent now up into 11th position, trying to chase down Nolan on those medium tyres. Very good start from those guys on those medium compounder tyre.
Yeah, Taupe is now down the inside, and it's looking like free white almost there. And that is not looking too clean whatsoever. Taupe does gain 2 positions with a bit of wheel-to-wheel banging, and maybe some from wing damage here and there as well. Doom and the Scream are still side by side down towards turn 1. Let's see, the Scream does hold on, looks towards the inside of Felipe, but not quite getting that. Doom still hanging around the outside, but not quite getting that either. Yeah, as you said, Nathan is 2 seconds clear up ahead of Slash, and that is exactly what he wanted, I think. 2.3 seconds now even, so it did look like Slash had a bit of trouble warming those tyres up, as I saw him weaving down the straight, down towards turn 17. But yeah, maybe that is not helping to his favour on the formation lap. Maybe he's not wanting properly up. Let's see. So Doom is just coming into contact with the Scream slightly, and that makes way for Larkin to get past down towards turn 17. And even Marcia is going to be not too far off this whole little group. So the Scream is looking down the inside of Felipe, and that should be a fairly easy move. The Scream blades on the brakes, holds the inside for turn number 12. Felipe tries to go around the outside. The Scream does give him space, but now backs out of it, and the Scream gets that position.
Yeah, very good racing between a lot of them as well. I do think Nolan might have a slight little bit of damage though, because he is really struggling to maintain these positions. So I think Nolan, unfortunately for him, he might try and make double digits in the race this time. We'll see, but he's definitely got some sort of damage on him. Larkin's now going to try and go past him on the straight as well, straight down the inside. Just before even reaching the corner, Nolan might even try and attempt another overtake on him. He's going to try it though, stick his nose down the inside. Larkin's going to have the better traction coming out of the corner though, and that is Larkin up into 13th position. Doom having that spin out of the exit of the hairpin now puts him basically out of contention for points at the moment, unless there is of course a safety car. But Nathan has absolutely shot off out in front of everyone. Slash already almost 3 seconds behind his teammate before even reaching the end of lap number 3. So Slash, again, I know it's between the mediums and the hard compounder tyre, but Nathan is on an absolute flyer at the moment.
Definitely is, and who's not is Kriko, our championship leader. He just made a mistake down towards through turn 5 and 6, I think. And Darius now looking to make a move. DRS is open down the outside. Don't think that will be too much of an issue. Kriko does try to fight it, I think. Just has to tuck in behind. And Dari, he's through into 8th place.
Now the thing is, it's going to be a bit interesting. Are we going to see Dari try and help Taupe to get through on Kriko? Because, of course, Taupe is on the medium compounder tyre, and same with Brent. As the bit of a spinner at the back, that is Marcio. No, sorry, that is Lix, I believe, actually. Both spin.
Slow. Maybe they come into contact? Not too sure. Didn't see much of it. But, yeah, very peculiar. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very strange. But yeah, as I said, I wonder if we're going to see Darry try and help Pope out, try and get past Creco, because him and Brent, of course, right at the back of the Mercedes, and of course both being on the medium compound tyre, they need to try and make as many positions and as much time up as possible from the positions that they had started in. Pope is still all over the back of Creco. The two MLE boys are trying to see if they can go at it with each other, but I think Pope's just going to have to wait behind the Mercedes for now. Darry doing a good job as well as Marcio speeding into the pit lane. I already think that's that done for Marcio. Licks, I think Licks might potentially carry on. I think both Alfa Romeos should carry on because there could be a safety car at any moment. We're only on lap number 4 of 29, so I'll be surprised if anyone does retire from the session now. As I said, considering there's still another 26 laps odd to go, so we shall wait and see if one does end up coming out. Who knows? But at the moment, the only thing I do know is that Nathan, I think, is storming away for this win around Miami.
I think the first couple laps he definitely did. Its pace has slowed down a little bit compared to the hards, or the hards have creeped up a little bit. I think the latter, as it takes a little while to get these hards up to temperature, and that is maybe why Nathan could get away so quickly. Yeah, it's about half a second a lap as of right now. He's gaining. It's still quite a considerable margin, but yeah, not enough right now to completely pull away and just keep the hard runners into it. Tope is now looking onto the back of Creco though, down towards turn 17. Let's see, can he get through later on the break, just slightly, still side by side, and let's see, comes out, a little bit of contact actually, there, as he has a bit of a half spin, and Evans goes into the pit. That's quite interesting, I have to see what he does. But yeah, Tope not getting through, and now under pressure from Brent, who's trying to go around the outside. They make that one work down into turn 1, late on the brakes, way too late. Almost hits the back of Creco, but yeah, he has to back out of that one. Just about keeps his nose clean. But Evans is in, and he's on the softs.
Yeah, a bit of an interesting strategy from Evans. I don't know if he wanted to just get off of those hards that just felt bad, or if he got wing damage or what, but yeah, very strange that Evans has decided to make that pit stop. I'm not too sure what's going on with that. He's only just come out just behind June, and probably get these tyres heated up after the first sector, so can at least try and attack the Spaniard, but it's a very interesting decision. I wonder if that was planned or not. I don't know, we'll probably ask him after the race and see if that was or not. But right on board with Tope, still all over the back of Creco. Creco now dropping out of DRS from Darry, of course, after having their little scrap at the end of last lap. Tope might see it. Well, see if we can Tope can get that move done on Creco. Towards the end of the lap. Of course, we'll have the DRS zone coming up very, very shortly after the chicane, and of course, Creco is not within DRS. Tope is flipping onto the back of that Mercedes, and we're now going to see a potential move go down for 4P number 8. Let's have a look. Tope is going to try and go down the inside of Creco, coming out in towards the final hairpin, and we'll see if he can get that move done. Yep, straight down the inside, gets the move done. DRS very powerful down that straight, got that move done very nicely, and Tope is now up into 8th position. A little bit further up though, I did see Killer also close to the back of Slash, trying to dethrone those Alpines for a 1-2. And interestingly enough, like you were saying, Nathan's not really getting away anymore. It was about 3.5, that gap. I mean, it's gone back to 3.7 as I said that, but yeah, Nathan just doesn't seem to be getting away as much as he was before. Like I said, those hards are definitely heated up for sure, but I wouldn't have thought it would be a crossover point this early on.
We'll have to see. I think the mediums are slightly quicker, but it's not by much anymore. Another thing, Killer is on 100% DRS, so watch out for him. He's sitting in there behind, and he's just saving us. There's a spinner at the back. Not completely at the back, but Larkin is has spun through turn number 7 there. As Brent is getting past Creco now as well. I don't think Creco has much to fight that. He does try to fight it. DRS is all open in all, but he doesn't have quite the speed. He does slunge it back down the inside actually. Brent holding on just about. I think Brent on those mediums will have the superior grip, and yeah, he does get through into 9th place, but Creco didn't make him quite easy. Evans gets through on June on those softs now as well.
Yeah, good racing between both Brent and Creco. Brent now coming up into 9th position. Creco now down into 10th, our championship leader. Not exactly having a very good race or start to this race, but of course, as I said, there's still quite a lot of the race to go. So we'll see if he can try and make up some more positions towards the end of the race. I'm going to stick on board with Killer at the moment because he is just, as I said, he's just content with sitting behind Slash at the moment. And I know you're saying that he was on 100% ERS. I think as an old school 3000 would like to say, if you're on 100% ERS, you're basically just wasting time that you could be gaining on that person. And you can already see Killer is out of DRS from Luke, so Luke has already been dropped out of DRS, sorry, from the guys in second and third position. So if anything, I think Killer needs to start using that ERS to try and at least get past Slash. I think he has the pace as well to even try and catch up to Nathan, because he just looks, he's just content with sitting behind Slash at the moment. But I think he needs to use some of that ERS if he wants any chance of being able to at least take a good win tonight. He's obviously going to be preserving it for later on, but at the same time, he's just losing time. The more that you don't use that ERS, and the more it just sits on 100%.
But then again, the more you don't use it, the more you force Slash to use it and drain him of his ERS. So it's a bit of a tactical game. What does he prefer currently? It seems like he prefers to sit behind. That's like a little mistake through turn number 15, the second part of the chicane. But he'll be back there in no time as Jum is spinning once again. He's down into turn 2, and I think he's lost a bit of his end play this time out, which is unfortunate to see. Yeah, I'm interested what Evans is trying here, because it didn't look like he changed his wing. Let's put up the gap. He's lost a good 20 seconds, so I don't think that's a wing change, as Nathan says the fastest lap of the race. I think he's heard it and maybe sped it up a little bit. Yeah, he does a 30.8, so have to see if that gap keeps on growing for longer. So went on board with Jum in a half spun again, so he's not enjoying his time here. Yeah, Evans is a very interesting one, because he put it on the softs, didn't look like he changed his wing. Maybe he meant to but didn't in the end, and just decided to stick with it for now. Who knows? But I can't see any physical damage on the car either.
Yeah, no, it looks like it's perfectly fine for the Ferrari, so I can't see any sort of damage. As I'll just call it there, our championship leader has just spun around as he was about to, or just approaching turn number 6. So yeah, our championship leader now going to be going up behind Larkin and even potentially Evans, who's made that one pit stop already. Evans isn't actually in a bad, necessarily in a bad position. He can still at least get some sort of points, but at the same time, I'm still baffled the fact that he made an early pit stop. But at the same time, it's starting to pay off for him, especially if everyone does decide they just want to go for a few pirouettes around turn 6 to turn 8. I think Evans is still not out of this for at least a top 5. A bit bold to say, but yeah. I think there's still an opportunity for the Aston Martin. He may just need a safety car that would time it right for him.
Yeah, maybe he's catching on something like that. Meantime, Killer made a little bit of a mistake, I think, and he has dropped out of DRS for the time being, but he's back in it for this little straight down towards turn number 1. But yeah, Slash has gained on Nathan on that lap, so maybe the hards are coming into play now. This would be the point usually where they do start coming into play, as Tup is weaving a little bit to defend from Brent. But the Red Bull just stays ahead, obviously, down towards turn 1. And these medium runners are not really gaining on the guys yet either. Darius dropped both of them. And Darius is quite a bit ways off the top 6 for now. I have to see if this strategy works for Evans. We'll keep an eye on the gap between him and the hard runners. I think that's a good thing to do.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely have to try and see what those guys can do. Of course, Tope is now dropping back off of his teammate. And Dari, I think, he said he was dropping off from them. He started to gain ever so slightly on the back of Rick as Larkin, the first one to pick up a 3-second time penalty down in 12th position. Of course, he's got Evans about 1.5 seconds behind him. Both still, of course, will need to make another stop. But, yeah, a bit interesting at the moment as June once again having a spin out of the final corner, and June's just coming straight back into the pits, and I won't be surprised if June just calls it a day from there. Yeah, 5-second penalty, speeding in the pit lane, and yeah, as I said, I'm sure we'll probably see June call it a day, or might even try and carry on, keep on trying to go for that fastest lap. Don't know, we'll wait and see, but yeah, a little bit further up on the field now, Killer is now out of that DRS from Luke, and is closing up to the back of Slash, and you can start to see as well, Nathan, I think, is now starting to struggle ever so slightly in comparison to the pace of Slash, because that gap is now just sort of maintaining the same, about 4.7 seconds between a lot of them, or between himself and his teammate. And I think Slash, I think you're right, I think he has definitely got a good opportunity of winning this race, especially later on in the race, because I'm expecting the medium runners to maybe make their make a pit stop, sorry, very soon, maybe even in this lap, or even in the next couple of laps. So I don't know, these guys, I'm intrigued. I think Nathan is the one that we definitely need to see how his pace is on the hards, and if it's still enough to stay up ahead of his teammate, as there's been a bit of another spinner out of the first corner. I think it was just June once again, unfortunately already being lapped on lap 10.
Yeah, he's not enjoying his time here, you could say. In the meantime, as Nathan picks up a penalty, that could be quite detrimental towards the end of the race, as Slash will have the advantage there and the guys in behind as well. Meantime, Evans, as he's moving down towards turn 11, can he make that move? No, he's sticking in behind. And that tells me that he might not have the pace, which indicates to me that he might have wing damage. Bit of a yellow flag. I think Felipe made a mistake down towards the chicane. And he lost a bit of time, potentially, or it was Marcio. No, it's not Marcio. Maybe June that let a few people through, potentially, as well. Not too sure what happens exactly. But,
yeah, there's definitely a lot of that sort of going on at the moment. Sorry to cut in there, because I can see Creeko is going to try and go for this move on Evans. Same with Evans on Larkin coming down towards the end of the DRS straight. Evans is just going to hold up a hold fire. I thought Creeko might have tried to dive it down the inside, but they both just sort of maintain their positions at the moment. Yeah, sorry, if you want to continue, what was you saying?
No, not quite. I'm quite into why Evans is not going for the move, because that looked like a pretty good opportunity. If you have the grip on the softs, you ultimately go for that opportunity. Then it's the last real corner, and he's just sticking in behind Larkin for now, which, yeah, I can't point anything else out that he might have damaged that we can't see. That's the only explanation I have.
Yeah, no, I think there's definitely something that is wrong with his car, so hopefully we'll probably end up coming in the pits very, very soon. June once again back into the pits, as it's getting a lot tighter now. Slash now picking up a penalty as well, so both of the Alpines are penalties. Surely we're going to now see Keller go for this move on Slash, so he gets the opportunity to try and catch up to the back of Nathan with that penalty as well. I'm sure Keller's probably jumping for joy that he's seen that both of them were penalties. He's closing up ever so close to the back of Slash, but just stays behind the Alpine for now. Nathan's still not opting to come into the pits as of yet on those medium compound tyres, so as I said, it's got to be within the next couple of laps now, surely, or even this lap. Once again, I'm sure we'll see them coming into the pits as Brent and Tope both side by side now coming in towards the hairpin. Brent down the inside, gets the move very nicely done, and now the Dutchman up ahead of the German down into P8 and P9. But I don't think that's really going to be over yet. Tope is now going to have the DRS coming up in towards turn number 1. I don't think he's going to be close enough, though. I think Brent got a very good run out of that final corner and just does manage to stay up ahead of the Red Bulls. So yeah, up into P8 goes Brent, very nicely done from him. Rick all over the back of Ben as well. Obviously, I've seen throughout the past couple of weeks, Ben very, very quick in a straight line, but when it comes to actual, just a lot of corners in general, he just seems to be very, very slow through there. So I think he might be running a very low winged setup for sure, and I'm intrigued if Rick can maybe even try and go for something in a straight line, because I'm just seeing Rick now gaining on him in a straight line, even though he has DRS. It's a lot quicker than what I was expecting. So Rick might be eyeing up a move on Ben JS very, very shortly. We shall wait and see. But once again, Killer all over the back of Slash. And again, he needs to get a good exit if he wants to get this move done on the Alpine. He needs to get this good exit out of this chicane, and he has done just that. Is he going to use any of his ERS though to maybe try and go for an overtake on Slash? Slash still on 35% on his ERS. Killer used a bit of it and is now down to 55% of his ERS. So I think Killer might be feeling a little bit more under pressure. Saying that though, Slash goes very wide coming out of the hairpin. Are we going to see Killer maybe try and get a bit of a better exit? No, he doesn't. In fact, he touches that inside curve uneased him a slight little bit, but it was just enough for him to have to stay behind Slash. So Slash still maintains the second position, but Killer is still holding on to the back of that Alpine.
As Tope overtook Brent and now comes into the pit, so that is not helpful as he gets the 5 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. Just out there, and he's gonna be the first one to go onto the hards. I have to see if Creeko got past Larkin for a bit, but I think Larkin got back past. Creeko looking back for a move, then into turn 1, then the outside. Is he going to be able to make that one stick? Be difficult as Larkin runs him out a little bit wide, but I think Creeko got the inside for turn 2. A bit of contact actually. Larkin has to avoid and cut the corner, and I think Creeko's just going to be ahead there. Evans is now looking for a move as well. He's not able to quite pull that one off with his potential damage, I think it is. But yeah. That is freaking out up into P11. In the meantime, I think Lucas made a mistake. because Benjes and Rick have caught up to him.
Oh yeah, there's definitely a mistake that's happened for the AlphaTauri, because yeah, like you say, Ben now all over the back of him, so we'll see if Ben can maybe try and go for a move down in towards the hairpin. I don't think he's going to be anywhere near close enough to getting a move done, but at least now he's helped with that DRS as he was getting attacked by Rick. Now, obviously, with that DRS, it's a lot easier for him to stay up ahead of him. As you say, our race leader now into the pits, and that now promotes Slash to our race leader, our net race leader, shall we say, of course, with Killer all over the back of him with that penalty. So let's have a look and see as, yeah, Rick now with the DRS and Ben with the DRS, both side by side going towards turn number 1. Ben's going to hold it around the outside. Rick going to hold down the inside. Ben will have the inside for turn number 2. Gets that, or keeps that position from the Ferrari. Very nicely done battling between the pair of them. The only problem now, though, they have dropped the DRS out from Luke. So Ben needs to do a little bit of a job's worth in this first sector to get back within DRS of the AlphaTauri if he wants any chance of being able to stay up ahead of Rick. At the moment, though, it's looking like Ben could get overtaken down on the straight as Evans picks up a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane.
And he's indeed in for a second pit stop, which I'm curious which is going to be. It'll probably be mediums, to be honest. And yeah, his wing is getting changed, so he did have damage. Killer is now into the lead, though. He's past Slash on the straight and is now into first place. Let's see, Nathan's come out in 7th place. It's a good 14 seconds as of right now, the gap between them. Nathan's going to struggle a little bit with the tire warm-up for this last sector, so that is not going to help him. It's going to be interesting to see if Killer, I think he might be the only one as of right now with Nathan's penalty. If he keeps penalty clean, then Killer is the main contestant to Nathan as of right now.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. I think if Nathan gets his tyres heated up very nicely, then that would be good for him. Then Slash goes very wide, coming in towards the hairpin, sorry. So because of him going very wide, braking very late, he's now out of DRS from Killer. So that's just basically open a door for Killer to say, yeah, let me just go through and I will just continue to run away. And yeah, 1.2 seconds now up ahead of the Alpine. Now Slash is going to have to try and use a bit of his ERS because Killer, I can see, has definitely used his. I think, in fact, Killer might even be pitting on this lap. I know he'll probably be using a lot of that ERS just to try and do a push of an in-lap. But yeah, Slash now needs to try and use a bit of his ERS to catch up to the back of Killer to try and keep him in DRS, especially after the pit stops happen. Again, if one comes in earlier than the other, then there's a very good opportunity that we can see an undercut slash an overcut from one of those top 2 guys. But at the moment, yeah, Killer now into our net race lead. Slash now down into second, of course, with that 3-second penalty, but at the same time, he's already 3 seconds up ahead of Luke, so it's not going to matter too much at this present moment. However, later on, it could definitely come back to bite him.
Yeah, and Killer's teammate Larkin's into pit, which indicates to me that Killer's going to be coming in this lap. Kind of has to be, as he did drain his ERS quite a bit to get past Slash and get away from Slash. So Slash is called back up actually, so Alpine could benefit a little bit here from the DRS if he gets it. Yeah, he does get it. So that's a good job from the Alpine there. And behind we still have the train for 3, 4 and 5th. That is not really very dynamic as of right now, very patient and just sitting about waiting for the pit stops, but I think that might be coming in this lap. And yeah, Killer's in. Slash is following him, and let's see if Luke does the same as well. Yeah, all of these top 5. Nope, Rick stays out. The top 4 is going in.
Rick, I think, trying to go for a bit of an overcut, as there's been a bit of a spinner that I believe is Tope out through the chicane, and there's also been a spinner at the back of the grid. That is Marcio out of turn number 2 as well. So both of those guys having a bit of a spin. Rick, Dari both opt to stay out. Nathan is all over the back of Dari. Where does Nathan come out ahead of Killer? He is quite a bit in front of him. Well, obviously all those guys battling. That's about 6-second gap, 7-second gap even, roughly, to where Killer and Nathan are with each other. Yeah, in fact, yeah, 5.3, of course, with that tyre warm-up, though. Probably will reach around 6 seconds of a gap between himself and Nathan. And, of course, Nathan with DRS on the back of Dari as well. With Dari not making that pit stop, Nathan will get, I think, even more of an advantage in comparison to those medium runners that have just made that pit stop. So, yeah, Nathan, I think, in fact, is going to see a move go down in towards tire number 11. Dari's not going to try and fight that one too hard. Nathan straight down the inside, and that is job done. Up into second position now for Nathan. He just needs to try and drive away as fast as possible. Because of that penalty, he's basically only got a 3.4 second deficit in comparison to a now a 5.9 second deficit, which he would have hoped it would have still been around that same amount, but unfortunately for him it's not working out, as Evans now out of turn number 4 having that spin as well.
Yeah, the gap has increased a little bit between Nathan and Killer. But Killer is now going to have those mediums heated up, and he only really has to get in within 3 seconds, and that should be him done. But obviously, Slash is the one that's going to have to try to do it on track, as Rick is now into the pits. Let's see if he actually comes out ahead of either Luke or Ben, as Ben is closing up to the back of Luke here. So Darius stays out for another lap. That's quite interesting to see. Maybe he's gambling on the softs. It's getting a bit darker. I don't think there's any rain predicted, but who knows? You never know with the Cody's game. And let's see, where does Rick come out? He's just coming out towards turn number 2. And it's going to be close. He's actually going to be ahead. He's ahead of Luke, he's ahead of Ben JS, and he's ahead of Felipe. As Tope is right again, he's not having the greatest of times. Felipe has got back past Ben, and Luke has got past Rick now the outside of turn number 4, I think it is.
Yeah, very nicely done from Luke for sure. I thought obviously just taking advantage of Rick on those cold tyres. Ben going down the inside of turn number 8 now to get that move done. Very nicely done for sure. Campbell just saying, can we investigate if Nolan is in AI? I'm not too sure if he is. I don't think so, because he's using a bit of his ERS to try and get a move done on Ben, but it doesn't look as if he is in AI. I think he is still... Yeah, no, it doesn't look as if he's in AI, so I'm not too sure what Campbell's on about with that, but yeah, very good battle between the pair of them. They're still both side by side. In fact, we'll stick on board of that battle. Benja trying to hold it up the inside in towards the chicane. He gets the move done. Very nicely done for Ben to keep that position up ahead of Nolan, and I think we might even see Slash trying not to go for a move on Killer coming towards the end of the hairpin. I don't think he's going to be close enough to getting anything done, but yeah, a lot of different moves going on as Tope is out.
Is that going to cause anything? As yeah, I think Felipe's battling was due to help, and he's still doing it actually. He's down the inside of the hairpin, and he's just trying to help Ben up here to help his teammates relieve one of his contenders off. So yeah, pretty good teamwork from the AlphaTauris. Darius now in, and I don't think Tope's car has brought out anything. Luckily, to keep the race a bit dynamic, Felipe is still trying to go for a move, but I think Ben has now got it done indefinitely. So Marcio has spun at the back as well.
Yeah, certainly has, and Nolan has now completely sort of backed off from Ben JS as well. I'm not too sure what had happened through there. May have just had a little bit of a wobble. But yeah, now 1.7 seconds behind the Williams driver. So yeah, I think that's basically Felipe. He's going to probably make a pit stop this lap. As I said, I think he's just trying to help Luke as much as possible, getting away from Ben. And of course, Luke getting past Rick as well. Not much that they can do regarding that, as well as that Scream. I think having that spin out of turn number 4 as well. Sorry, turn number 5 even. Was a bit of an odd one. Usually it's either turn 6 or just coming through turn 3 or anything like that. But yeah, that Scream having that spin, and here we go for that P2. Killer and Slash, and Killer's
going round through the chicane, and I don't know if he has any damage. The camera doesn't show it for now, but he must have lost it through turn 15. And yes, right end plate is gone.
Oh dear for Killer. It was looking very neat for him, and of course with that battle with Slash, I think they might have collided coming in towards the chicane. I'm not too sure what had happened with that, or I could be wrong. It might have just been the case that Killer just took too much curb and then just went straight into the wall. Not sure what had happened between them, but yeah, now unfortunately for Killer with that damage, he's got 10 more laps to go, and it's a stricken McLaren trying to hold up ahead of Luke and ahead of Rick and ahead of Ben. Of course, Felipe now into the pits to make his mandatory pit stop. Krico's still yet to make a pit stop.
I think Felipe might have actually been in AI. I'm not too sure. I was watching on board with him for a little bit, but the movement looked a little bit weird, so not too sure what happened there, if he was or not. Back off Killer now. Yeah, that's surely going to be a move down towards the tray here. So he's right all over him, and might even allow Rick to get through. He's using his ERS to try and maybe get a move on the McLaren done. Killer is trying to stay ahead. Luke has not really been able to get past, even with draining his ERS basically. Let's see around the outside. This Killer does try and hold on Luke around the outside though, and I think he makes that one quite easily work, but it's going to hold up Rick now. Rick is not able to get past here through this slow section.
Yeah, beautifully done from Luke. Of course, DRS passed, but at the same time, went around the outside of that turn 11 for have the inside for turn 12, and of course with Killer with that damage, it's pretty much almost impossible for him to try and hold on to that position. However, he might try and go for this move once again on Luke just to try and slow him down. He is entitled to do this move. Of course, with that damage, he's now going to go back up in front of the AlphaTauri. You can just see how much more straight line speed that McLaren has in comparison to the AlphaTauri. However, of course, with it being a bit more stricken than the rest of them, we might even start to see a lot more other people try and catch up. Dari gets the move done on Kriko for that P7. Of course, there's an 8-second buffer between Dari and Ben. But of course, with Killer leading this train with all of this with this damage on his car, it's going to be slowing up the rest of those guys out behind him. So it might even allow Dari, towards the end of this race, Dari could potentially catch up to this train.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, just for the correct, I don't think Flip is an AI, because I just wanted to some go through the chicane, and the AI don't particularly take that well, and he took it pretty decently. So Lucas down the inside of Killer now, and that is the move done there. Rick is now looking onto the back of the McLaren as well, so it's getting darker and darker, a bit cloudy, a bit overcast now. As Killer has actually got the DRS back on Luke, and he's going to get back through.
Despite having that wing damage, some great racing going on between these two guys, but I think Luke is probably more annoyed than anything because he knows that he's got that damage, and you could see it through the through that first sector, and you can just see how much he's holding up Luke coming up through this chicane as well. Luke just so much quicker through these sequence of corners, sorry. But you can just see he just can't do anything, especially on a straight line. As yeah, run on board now with Nolan trying to go around the outside of Scream, coming up towards turn number 11 on fresh mediums in comparison to Scream's 3-lap-old mediums. Around the outside, have the inside for turn number 12. Very nicely done from Nolan. Up and down into P10. As a little bit further up in front, Killer now trying to hold on once again from Luke for that P3 position. And Luke gets the move done. However, Killer is going to have the DRS now coming up towards turn number 1. Ben might even look to go for a move on Rick. I think there's still going to be so many what's going on between these two guys. Ben's going to go down the inside in towards turn number 1 as well. Luke going to hold the inside for turn 1. A little bit of push and shove between Rick and Ben. Rick keeps that position up ahead of the Williams. Great battling between 3rd to 6th. But Luke manages to hold on to that position up ahead of Killer. And I think that was crucial for him because now well, the other two guys now need to try and get through Killer. And through this first sector, it's going to be so difficult to try and go for a move, especially and like with Killer's straight line speed. It's going to make it even harder. The thing is now, is that Killer is out of DRS from Luke. Because of that wing damage, he's now, well, he's now basically a sitting duck from Rick and potentially from Ben. You can see Rick is using that ERS. Killer trying to hold down the inside from the fin. They're both still side by side. A little bit of wheel banging between the pair of them on the straight, but Killer's going to hold it down the inside on the fin. Rick goes around the outside to have the inside for turn 12. I think that's a bit of a popular move for this race in Division 2, but Rick now up into P4. Killer now down into 5th. Ben, I think, was going to try and follow, but almost went into the back of the McLaren, and now we're going to see Killer have that DRS once again on the Ferrari, and I don't think Rick is going to be close enough to getting any DRS on the back of Luke, so again, we could see another move go down for P4 between Killer and Rick.
So the Scream and Larkin, I think, have come into contact down at turn 11. So they're both around and off the track. Yellow flags all depicted. And not too sure what happened there. The Scream does let Larkin back through, so I'm assuming, don't want to be too assumptionist, but yeah, I'm assuming that the Scream may have been at fault for that collision, or felt like he was at fault for that collision. But they're back on the way in 11th and 12th right now, moving back up towards his battle for 3rd, which Rick is now caught back into the DRS of Luke, and Killer's almost definitely going to lose the DRS here from Rick, I reckon, just with his wing damage. Yeah, that has to be, and Ben is now trying to go around the outside, and that shouldn't be too difficult, but we've seen this before. And Killer went back through on the car, overtook him in that corner, so I have to see if he can do it. He's going to try it. DRS is going to be activated. ERS was already activated. And here we go, the McLaren, can he make a move down towards turn 11? Let's see, looking down the inside, he's going to go for it, not quite enough, and Benjes holds on for P5.
Yeah, but they're still going to be under pressure, especially coming through these little chicane as well. As there is a yellow flag, and yeah, Joom now retiring from the session out on track, and that's a safety car. That is going to help Killer quite big as well, and especially for Luke. 9 seconds behind the top two, both of those with penalties. Both of those guys are kicking themselves for sure. I will be so surprised if they don't pit.
Maybe some of the medium runners, someone like Dari, could stay out. But beyond that, these guys have got to go in. And Nathan's in, Slash is in. Let's see if the rest follow. Luke is in, Rick is in, and it's going to all be onto softs quite predictably. Let's see if Dari stays out. That's the only one I think could make sense. But no, also he's going in, so yeah. not too surprised by that one. Kriko's in, and yeah, everyone on the softs. This will be quite a bit of a shootout, and this will definitely benefit Luke, I reckon.
I'll tell you what, though, it's also benefited our championship leader. Of course, he didn't made a pit stop as of yet, and went on to he's now of course going to be on a fresh set of softs onto the back of the train of everybody else. So Kriko, I think, is going to give him a little bit of a lifeline from that as well. But yeah, no, for sure, the one that's going to be helped the most is going to be Luke. The two Alpines are seething at the fact that there's going to be a safety car because they were so far in front with penalties to their name. They're now going to be under pressure for the next 5 laps when of course we do get back underway, and of course Luke is going to be the one to try and get that move done. If he can maintain this position as well, where his championship contenders are, Killer and Kriko, I think Luke might jump back into the lead of this championship, if I'm not mistaken. I will have another double check and just make sure that that is right. But I mean, yeah, sorry, Luke is actually 13 points behind Kriko, so yeah, at the moment, if he does win this race, I think Luke is definitely going to go back into the lead of this championship.
Yeah, if Kriko doesn't get 4th place, then that should be the case indeed. So, yeah, Luke will be definitely very happy at this one, and maybe some guys that are further down the grid as well. Maybe not Marcio, because he's a lap down, he's not going to be able to unlock this himself, as that is just how this game is, unfortunately. So, but yeah, all the rest will be able to catch up, as everyone but Evans has gone on to a first set of softs, and yeah, Evans just trying to be able to catch up to the safety car, not be caught out with that place. But yeah, I don't think the Alpines will be very happy here.
Yeah, as I said, I think they're going to be quite annoyed that a safety car has come out. As I said, they were running very nicely. You know, they had their penalty, but at the same time, they were just, you know, they were quite content the fact that they were about 6 seconds up ahead of anybody else. So, yeah, very unfortunate for the rest of them, or for both of those Alpines, shall I say. Larkin and Scream as well, of course, towards the back end of the field, are now going to have Lix, Evans and Marcio close up to the back of them. In fact, to saying that, no, sorry, Marcio is actually within front of the safety car because of him being lapped. So, yeah, unfortunately for Marcio, he's not going to have the benefit of trying to jump up ahead of Larkin and Scream in these last 5 laps. But I was saying that, though, Marcio's even got a penalty of his own, so it wouldn't have really mattered. Matt Evans, though, not too bad of a position. He's the only one that has opted to stay out on a set of the medium tyres, and I wonder if it's going to help him. Never mind, he's coming to the pits, as I was saying that, so completely ignore what I've just said. He is coming in and probably going to change onto a fresh set of soft tyres to go to the end of the race.
Yeah, I think he would just make sure he wouldn't get lapped or get stuck behind the safety car in any way, shape or form. And that's fair enough, and it's going to actually benefit him to a case if he can catch up, then he'll have the freshest tyres out of the entire grid, even though it's by 1 lap compared to most, it's still an advantage. So to see if he can maybe get himself into the points. Of course, Larkin and Scream having penalties might help that as well. Top 12 get points, so if Evans can get that amongst there, then yeah, definitely a possibility. It'll be very interesting to see if the guys like Luke, Rick, Ben, if they're going to be trying for moves, or knowing that the top 2 have penalties, or they're just going to sit in behind and take enough of their possible positions.
Yeah, now we'll wait and see if they will be able to. But safety car doesn't look as if it will be in this lap, so we'll only have 4 laps of racing to go. Of course, just waiting for Evans to close back up to the rest of the grid. Obviously, he doesn't want to try and burn up his tyres too much under this safety car, because he does want to have them as fresh as possible so he can try and go for some moves a bit earlier on. So everyone now on 2-lap old soft compound tyre, whereas Evans is now only going to be on the 1-lap old soft compound tyres. So again, as weird as it's going to sound, any sort of tyre life on these softs can help, and I think Evans might have played this quite nicely in his favour. But at the same time, of course, with only 4 laps left to go, there will be 2 laps of racing with DRS on lap 28 and lap 29. Of course, if there's not going to be another safety car coming out when it comes in. Yeah, I'm not too sure how this race is going to go down. I think now Luke, as I said, is in a prime position to win this race. He needs to get past the lap car of Marcio ASAP on this restart, so then both of the Alpines don't just sort of run away from the rest of the grid. At the same time, Rick's also going to need to try and do a job to keep up with Luke, Ben as well. They've all been with him the entire race. Killer now, of course, with that. I don't know if Killer did he actually repair his wing damage, because he stayed in 6th position. I don't know if he's repaired his wing. Oh yeah, no, he has.
No, he did.
Ignore me. He did.
He had quite a bit of a gap to Derry. Might have just stayed about ahead, which I think helped that. Yeah, he might be still in this, you know.
Yeah, no, there's definitely still a chance for Killer. He's going to need to. There's definitely going to be some aggressive racing though. Go down in these last 4 laps of everyone. It's just who's going to be the one that keeps it the cleanest to then take the win in the end. Could the 2 Alpines maybe get that gap within 3 seconds in these final closing laps? Could Luke maybe just manage to maintain it? As I said, he needs to get past that lapped car as soon as possible. Safety car will be in at the end of this lap. We're just waiting for, of course, that signal to show up, but it should show up. There you go, right about now. So we're right on board with Nathan to see when he does opt to go. He's going to be slowing this grid down immensely. I reckon it'll be towards the end of the, or at the hairpin, sorry, we might see the Alpine go. Is Slash, though, going to try and maybe help out Nathan, hold them up as much as possible? Slash might take the brunt of it, but Nathan could still be on for this win.
Yeah, if they do it smart, they do it where Marcio stalls down, and I think Nathan is attempting to do that. So he accelerates out of the hairpin, and that's him gone, and let's see. Quite awake, Luke is quite awake as well, as Marcio goes off track to let people through, and goes actually into the pits. As Ben has had a bit of a merit, might have had a bit of a half spin. He gets passed by not only Killer and Derry, but also Kriko. They've lost a little bit of touch, and now Nathan and Slash, they're 7/10 clear of their respective driver, as Benji I think has dropped it.
Yeah, it was a little bit of contact between him and Kriko. I think there's nothing much that Kriko could do. He was on the outside. He left in the room on the inside. I think Ben might have just understeered ever so slightly into the side of Kriko. It's now means that Ben has gone round down into 14th. It was looking very nice and promising for the Williams, but unfortunately for him now, I don't think he's even going to be scoring any points unless he can get back within DRS of those other guys out in front. A little bit further up the grid though, Luke still has managed to keep within 1 second of the rest of those, or of those 2 Alpines. Rick now out of that 1 second of Luke, so he needs to do a bit of work to get back within that 1 second. Slash also lost a second out from his teammate, so he is going to be trying to play the team game and try and hold up the rest of those guys to see if Nathan can get this win. 1.9 seconds separates Luke and Nathan. And as I said, Luke just needs to stay within 3 seconds of Nathan to be able to take this win out for round number 4 around Miami and go into our championship league. Killer still in 5th position. Again, could maybe get the jump on Slash. I think the jump on Nathan is out of a question, but there is still an opportunity for Killer to try and get at least 4th position in this race. But the top 5 all still within the 3 seconds gap of each other, but only by the skin of the teeth.
Nathan's absolutely burned all of his ERS. 20% he's down towards turn 1, and he is basically already on for a net P2. He's only losing out to Luke at this point, so maybe this is working. He is dropping, making sure those guys are not having DRS at least as much as he can. It's going to be very difficult, as Slash is already down to 30% as well. Same with Luke, 40% for him. Rick is out of the DRS, so he's going to have to push a little bit as Evans and the Scream go side by side. Both of them off track there, actually. As the Scream is losing another position to Licks there as well. He's up into P12 and might have a run at Evans here down towards turn number 11. As Evans is derating already off the restart. He's been aggressive on it. Larkin getting past Felipe, not too much fuss about that. Licks around the outside of Evans and is making it 3 wide. The Scream around the outside of both of them. Licks backs out, the Scream I think is going to take that one just ahead of Evans, and then Licks filtering through into 13th. Evans keeps his nose in though. Let's see, can he take that down the inside of the chicane? That is not a place to go side by side, and that just shows how Licks is able to get through down to turn 60 now. Both of them still side by side, and Licks losing a little bit of traction, and Evans losing a bit of traction. Licks is down up into P12. Felipe swapped back ahead of Larkinen. Felipe trying to keep P9, Larkin around the outside. Is that going to be able to be done? Goes for the switchback. Very cleanly done by the McLaren driver. Let's see, on the exit, can he get this one done? ERS enabled for, definitely for Larkin, not for Felipe actually. And Larkin goes up ahead of the AlphaTauri.
Very good racing between the pair of them. quite a bit of the opposite between Scream and Evans, though. I think Scream, throughout that first sector on that last lap, sort of forcing out Evans when they're both side by side through the S's. Again, not really a place that you want to be side by side with, but Scream went off track on his own as well, so Evans kept that position. But at least when they went 3 wide, he managed to get that position back off of Evans, so it was good battling between the pair of them as well. And Evans is all over the back of Ben JS, and I think that Scream had a little bit of a moment as well coming out of turn number 6, because Licks, I thought, almost went into the back of the Mercedes. But now we're going to be having DRS, and now Scream is going to be a bit under pressure. Killer gets the move done on Rick, 4P4, so Killer now up into 4th position, needs to try and gain about 7/10 of a second to get within 3 seconds of Slash. At the moment, it's not going to be doable for him. Luke, 2.4 seconds behind Nathan, now dropped down to 2.1 seconds behind Nathan. Both of the Alpines are derating. Luke still has about 10% of ERS left, so he's going to be a little bit quicker in a straight line in comparison to 2 Alpines. So I say that because Slash is within DRS of Nathan. Are we going to see the 2 Alpines battle it out through the final lap? Lix is now out of the race, out of turn number 13, I think that is. So Lix now being our 3rd retiree of the race. But here we go, onto the final lap of the race. Are we going to see the battling go down between the 2 Alpines? Nathan has been leading this race pretty much the entire way up until this safety car restart. Now Slash is going to be putting the pressure under him. Are we going to be seeing it as Slash gets another 3-second time penalty? So that's basically none and voided that. Slash is now going to be dropping down not 1 position, but now about 4 positions. But I think Darry might even be within 6 seconds of Slash. I'll see if I can keep an eye out on that one. But it's looking like Slash is now going to be off of this podium, whereas he had the opportunity just to at least be in 3rd position. Luke is now going to be able to take at least 2nd position. 5/10 is the gap between Nathan and Luke. Is Luke going to be able to hold on to it? Coming through now towards towards the end of the 2nd sector. I think it's looking like Nathan might hold on. Ben is now out of the session, out of turn number 8. He goes around. Rick has not been able to get the move done on Killer. And Rick, I think, unfortunately for him, he's got 1 more straight to go. If he can do it before the hairpin, he might still be able to get himself on the podium. Killer had a little bit of a moment coming through the chicane. Ben has now left the session. Nathan and Slash have done so much to try and hold on to the win of this race. Of course, that safety car has not helped them whatsoever, and it's gone from a 1-2 for the both of the Alpines to now, I think, Nathan at least finishing 2nd, but Slash off at the podium. Nathan's coming around the final corner to take the win on track, and Slash in 2nd, but Luke will come across the line to take the win in the end. Nathan does still finish in 2nd, and Killer takes the final podium position in the end. Rick finishes 4th. Slash does finish up ahead of Darry in 5th, and Darry finishes in 6th. Kriko, who was our championship leader, has now lost that championship lead to Luke, and Luke is now our championship leader, but Kriko finishes in 7th, Brent finishes in 8th. Nolan in the end finished up in 9th, up ahead of Larkin. Of course, Larkin got him on track, but with that penalty, drops down into 10th. Scream and Evans, I believe, were our final points positions, but those last 4 laps made that so much more entertaining for a Miami race, because it started to get a bit dull towards the middle of that, but that safety car just spiced everything up, and just completely turned it on its head.
Yeah, completely thrown the race results on its head, and it's definitely benefited Luke after quite a clean race from him. It's just what you expect from him, honestly, and he's going to be, I think, moving into the championship lead now as well. And he'll be very happy with his result today. And I think Nathan will be the most devastated of all, as he's been leading throughout the entire race, and I think it's 6 on his head and just about misses out. It's 5/10 there away from Luke, and Kill it right now at the podium positions.
Certainly is, and I think we're going to see these guys on this podium quite a lot throughout the season. Luke, Nathan, and Killer. Of course, Luke does end up taking the win, of course, after Nathan picking up a 3-second time penalty in the end, and Nathan picks up the fastest lap as well, so he'll get at least 19 points. So I suppose a little bit of a consolation for Nathan, almost the grand slam though of pole, fastest lap and the win, but unfortunately that 3-second penalty just hindered that for him. But yeah, as I said, Luke takes the win. Nathan in 2nd, Killer rounding out the podium. Rick in the end from 8th on the grid takes 4th position. Slash in 5th, Darry in 6th, Kriko in 7th, Brent in 8th, Nolan in 9th, Larkin in 10th, Scream in 11th. Evans picking up the final points position down in 12th position. And then our DNFers right towards the end of that were Ben JS, Marcio, Lix, Doom, and Taupe. And yeah, as I said, it made that those last 4 laps made that a lot more of an interesting race than what it was sort of in the midway point. Despite obviously Killer picking up that damage, he still ended up finishing on a podium, which is just, you know, as I said, I think that safety car definitely helped him, but you still can't take him away from that because, you know, as I said, finishing on a podium in the end, he's still at least within championship contention of Luke for that one. And we have got him in the party, and we'll start off with Killer finishing in 3rd. After that spin, taking off that front wing, was you still expecting to finish on the podium?
Not at all. I was very much praying to the safety car gods. Did my best safety car mentalist impression. I was looking at Darry in P7. I was thinking that's the best I can get because I thought I was losing about 1.5 seconds a lap to 2 seconds. And I thought pit stop, I might not gain it back in time. So I thought I'll just stay out, see where I end up. The safety car might come. And then June died, much to my joy and excitement in the party with Larkin. And yeah, it was a very sweaty last few laps. I was very happy when I saw Slash got a penalty on the last lap as well, because I was not, even after the safety car, I was not expecting to be near a podium finish.
Yeah, that definitely looked very sort of tight towards the end of that. Of course, with I was going to say towards the beginning of the race, you know, you were sort of just content with sitting behind Slash and Nathan. Of course, both of those picking up penalties at the beginning of the race. Was there any intention on those hards? Did you want to try and, you know, get past Slash earlier on and try and catch up to Nathan as best as you could, or because you saw they both had penalties, you thought, you know, I just sort of chill, just let them sort of come towards me?
I thought I'd just chill. I thought, because Slash was quick enough anyway that they were pulling away from Ben JS, and then I think Luke made a little mistake and he dropped out of DRS and we started pulling away from him. I just thought, you know, I'd assess the terrain, see how it goes, and I very quickly clocked that Nathan was far too quick for me. When he was on the mediums, and then again when I came out of the pits, I just made no impression on his lead, so I thought, all right, my battle's with Slash. So I was on 2 warnings since about lap 9, so my whole game was stay close to Slash, whether that's the head or behind, I didn't care, and avoid a penalty. But that chicane, I was so terrified every single lap that I was going to cut it too much, get a warning, that I was losing like 0.2 a lap there, because I was so desperately trying to avoid cutting it, because it's so hard to judge where the warning is, and that's where I ended up putting it in the wall, because I thought I was going for a cut, which would have got me the pen, so I had to dive out of the cut, ended up going over the second curb, and I just put myself in the wall. In reflection, I should have taken the penalty, but it is what it is.
Yeah, no, I was about to say, like, when you got that wing damage as well, was you battling with Slash at that point, or was it just a case that you just drop it on your own through the chicane?
I just dropped it myself. It was purely me trying to avoid cutting the first part of the chicane, so much so that I overcompensated, went fully over the bumper the second part, and it just knocked me into a half spin. It wasn't battling. I said I was happy just to sit in Slash's DRS if it came to that. I just messed it up completely.
Yeah. No, of course, I get that as well, and yeah, happens to the best of us, I suppose. But we have got, of course, Monza next week, the Temple of Speed. Gary's domain, as a lot of people in LOE like to call it. Are you looking to maybe try and go for that top step of the podium for that and try and reclaim that champion, or not reclaim, try and get the championship lead for the first time this season?
I'll give it a go. I feel like I no longer have a right to talk myself down because I thought I'd be awful today, and I nearly got pole position if I didn't bottom qualify. So yeah, why not? Let's go for a win. Let's go for the dub, and then, you know, if you aim high. My bottles so far this season have got me a P2 in a P2 in Bahrain and a P3 in Miami. So if that's what my bottles are getting me, we'll ignore Imola. Then I feel very much like I can fight for something at Monza.
Fair enough. Yeah, you got any questions for Killer?
Max, I do. First of all, congratulations on the podium. Second of all, when you got that wing damage, we saw a few times, obviously those S's are not fun with that wing damage. We saw you losing the position every now and then you'd gain it back on the straight. Was that in any way intentional? Did you think after a while, like, maybe that is possible to keep some positions?
Oh, it absolutely was intentional. I'm not Gary. I fight for every position, even when I've got damage. Having damage doesn't give you mean you're obliged to get out of someone's way. I thought, because apart from the S's, apart from turns 4 through 8, my pace felt fine in the low speed. Like I was able to follow fine for the rest of the lap. It was just a case of survive through there. And I tried to manage as long as I could. And I thought, if there is a safety car, I want to screw these people over in the meantime as much as I can, so I can stay close to them. It's cleanly, of course, cleanly screw them over. So it was the plan. And it worked, because staying in their DRS got me out just ahead of Dari after my wing change, which was crucial for making the move on Rick.
But yeah, as I said, once again, congratulations, Killer, for taking third position for
Dankeschön.
this race. As I said, don't think you was expecting it, but I suppose it's a bit of a consolation for yourself in the end. Move on over to our second place finisher, and probably one that's a bit more devastated that he ended up finishing second. Nathan, so close to getting that win for the first time this season in D2, but that safety car just did not help you at all. How was that race for you in the end? Because I said, I'm sure you was probably just quite bored in the end.
Yeah, obviously quali when well, I know J Cool Killer should have probably had pole, but obviously with the hairpin. So yeah, happy to get that. And then I obviously knew like Slash was doing hard medium before in the week, so I was like, okay, let's just like practice medium hard throughout the week. Obviously got the gap. We're still gaining until like lap 13, and that's when it would kind of like stagnated in a way. And Slash then started to gain a few tenths by the end of the lap, so it was just like, oh, just pick this lap, and then yeah, the safety car was yeah, that audio ain't getting released, but yeah, then after that, just literally 4 quali laps, and yeah, unlucky to get. I think it was like 3 tenths or 4 tenths in the end to Luke. But obviously just one too many warnings that were probably very unnecessary. But yeah, I guess just a good way to finally start off the season. Obviously got P9 at Bahrain, and then missed, well, Imola happened, and then missed Korea. So yeah, we're hopefully higher than 16th in the standing. But yeah, congrats to Luke and obviously Jake on the podiums.
Yeah, no, I definitely think you are going to be a bit higher than 16th on those standings. I think there's still a few drivers that have yet to still even get any sort of points at the moment. So hopefully they can sort of pick it up a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, as I said, I know, was you and Slash in a party together? Was you like hoping that he played a team game, just sort of try and back off everybody else from you, and so that you can just shoot off in the distance? Or was you not in like a party and you just tried to do what you could?
Well, the first like couple of races, I was just like sat by myself. I was just like, I'll just sit, like try and relax and like concentrate. Obviously, that I mean, I was relaxed, but it was just relaxed disaster class. But obviously tonight I was with Ben and Luke, and I mean, I know me and Slash like talked before the season, and I mean, I know Slash he's very quick. We see in like other like PSJ and all that. So I think me and him are kind of like, obviously if one of us is like severely lacking somewhere, I guess that's when like we'll help each other. But I mean, tonight it was, I think, obvious that me and him kind of like could have got a 1-2 very easily without the safety car. So we were just, and then obviously he picked up another penalty which didn't help. But yeah, we were just kind of like trying to get as far away as possible and pick up whatever points with the penalties we picked up.
Yeah, no, I see that as well. And as I said, I've got Monza next week, of course. I know the win was so close from yourself for today. Are you hoping to have a bit of a better one next week and hopefully try and get to that top step at the podium?
Duncan, no. I don't know. I did too much practice for Miami this week because Miami was one like Jake that I really was not looking forward to. And then drove it a bit, and like it was okay, but in terms of just like there was no feeling to it at all. So Monza, I actually haven't driven it post patch. I think I did like a few time trials, but pre patch it was actually quite nice. So yeah, I'm hoping just A, no pens, B, no spins, and then C, pray that people in Division 2 don't have crashes because it's really annoying now.
Oh, no more safety cars. I suppose you're hoping for.
No, please, let's just turn it off. Let's just let people crash, and yeah.
Be done with it, I suppose. But yeah. So yeah, have you got any questions for Nathan?
Honestly, no. I want to congratulate you on second, but I know you're not happy with it.
I'm
like,
raging.
I could tell. No,
Nah, it's
you get
alright.
the point.
It's obviously after how the first 3 rounds went. To be 16th after I think everyone's predictions is just is kind of a massive bring down to reality and just these. I mean, there's still 13 races to go, so there's still plenty of points on offer. But it's just, I think halfway into the season, that's when it'll be okay, we need to literally bash out the last 9 or 8 races and just literally try and get any points possible.
Yeah, no, as I said, hopefully you do as well, and hopefully we'll see you more towards the top step of the podium, give a bit more of a championship fight to the rest of those guys. I don't know, has Luke? I didn't see Luke join the party. I don't know if he's actually here or not.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, sweet, cool. Well, Luke, again, I don't think you was expecting to take the win tonight, was you?
I mean, I was quite confident going into it. I felt like my pace was quite good, but on my final quali run, I had Licks spin in front of me, and that lost me a couple of tenths. And then in the race, I was just lacking a bit of pace towards Jake and Slash. But yeah, on the softs, I felt good, but just on the hards, I just felt like I had no grip and couldn't keep up with them, like in the middle sector.
Yeah. I was going to say, because I could see that there was, I know there was a point when you came out of the pits after the first stop. You was right behind your teammate. I don't know if you and Nolan were probably in a party with each other, and he was just, I think he was doing his best Sergio Perez impression, holding up Ben as much as possible to make sure that he couldn't get anywhere near you for that, or anywhere near trying to overtake you or anything like that. I think Rick managed to slip through his fingers, but Ben couldn't in the end. But yeah, I mean, as I said, I know Miami is definitely a track for yourself. You know, you suit it very well. You love drive. I've seen you driving it before, and that you're very quick around it. It was more just after quali, as I said, it just looked like it was going a bit sort of downhill for yourself. But as I said, you managed to take it in the end with obviously Nathan and Slash's penalty. Sorry, Nathan, but with both of those top two having those penalties. Again, was there any sort of communication with you and Nolan being able to try to see if Nolan could hold anybody back before he'd made his pit stop?
No, we weren't in a party together because his mics broke.
Oh.
So he just did it out of pure, I don't know what the word is, but pure help. I had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, when he held up Ben and he just dropped back a lot. I wasn't really focusing at the time on him, but yeah, I don't know what to say.
No, that's fine, no worries. And yeah, as I said, obviously those final 4 laps must have been quite intense because I think you had to get past a lap car to try and stick with the 2 Alpines. I think I saw him just come straight into the pit, so you kind of got away sort of scot free with that. But those last 4 laps, how was that for you? Because that must have been very tense to try and hold on to them.
Yeah, I was kind of shouting at him under the safety car, telling him to pit. And then he did it on the restart while Slash and Nathan already had a gap. And at that point, I'd lost DRS to Slash, so I was quite stressed. But yeah, I think in the last 2 laps, I don't know if Nathan overheated his tyres or something, but I started to gain again and just had the ERS to stay inside the gap.
For sure. And yeah, of course, we've got Monza next week. You're also our championship leader. Are you hoping to try and extend that championship a bit more, try and maintain it this time since after Bahrain and obviously since after now Miami, or is Monza not really a track that you're too particularly strong at?
I mean, I'm obviously hoping to. I've not really touched Monza's too much this game, so I can't talk too much about it, but hopefully it'll be good.
Yeah, no, for sure. And yeah, any questions for Luke at all?
More going back towards the first stint. I don't know if you mentioned it already, but it was a moment. I think you were about a second behind Killer, and then you had a mistake, or at least you dropped back, and Ben and Rick got onto the DRS. I don't know. Could you explain what happened there?
On like the long right-hander in the like middle sector, I just lost the rear, and I was lucky to keep it out of the wall. But then I lost like, over a second to Killer, and then Ben was right behind me with the RS, and I could tell he had some low wings, so it was pretty stressful. But we were able to hold on.
Fair enough.
But yeah, as I said, once again, Luke, congratulations for taking the win for tonight as well. And of course, taking that championship lead back as well. And that's all she wrote for round number 4 of division number 2. Thank you to everyone that has tuned in for tonight. Make sure you guys are tuning in to Division 1 and Division 3 next week at 6:30 p.m. British Standard Time. Division 1 covered by James Head and QVR Killer, and Division 3 covered by Jess Gamer and Evil Dragon. And then at 8:10 p.m. British Standard Time will be myself and I believe you once again. And Division 4 will be the American duo of Packer and Maverick. So make sure you guys are tuned into that one. But thanks to everybody that has tuned in for tonight, and we'll catch you guys next week for round number 5 around Monza.